B'Shem Hashem Na'aseh V'Nasliach. We're having another limud shiur at downtown Vernon. Thank you so much for the host.
Thank you so much.
Be'ezat Hashem, today's subject is about the importance of little acts of mitzvot. That how much, thank you, little acts of mitzvot, one act of a mitzvah, good deed, can make a big difference. So there is a very interesting Zohar HaKadosh. Zohar HaKadosh teaches us that when a person dies, when a person departs from this mundane world and goes to the world to come, in the world to come they're going to give him a spiritual clothing, or show him spiritual clothing that he is going to have, and this spiritual clothing is made based on the acts of the deceased, based on the acts of that Yehudi. So from here, Zohar HaKadosh teaches us that every person can make that spiritual clothing that he is going to have in the world to come. As we know, world to come, everything is spiritual. And all his deeds would contribute to weaving of this the material, the spiritual material of this clothing. So every act makes a very big difference. So based on this, we want to talk about that which we learned in last week's parasha, Parashat Vayechi. In Parashat Vayechi, Yaakov Avinu calls Yosef HaSadir, and he makes him to promise that after he dies, he would make sure that his body is transferred and buried in Ma'arat HaMachpelah in Hebron, Eretz Israel. Now, back then in Egypt, the Egyptians knew that Yaakov Avinu's presence contributed to bringing much blessings. So much so that as soon as Yaakov Avinu came to Egypt, that ended the famine, the 7-year famine, and that contributed to much blessings. And they knew that Yosef HaSadik is Yaakov Avinu's son. So they didn't want his body to leave Egypt, because even the body of such a person would contribute to country's success, right? This whole concept existed even back then. Today we also see among different cultures that they show respect to the deceased and even to the buried deceased, right? As they make it to a place of worship, as a place that they go and they pray to, their beliefs that most of the times their beliefs are very shaker and not true. Hopefully they would pray to God. Now, Yaakov Avinu asked Yosef HaSadik to take his body and bury it in Eretz Israel. From here, our Chachamim teach us that body is not just flesh and blood. Body is the shell that contains so much the neshama and all those years of living that was used to perform mitzvot. When a person dies from this world, going to the world to come, the body has dignity and therefore needs to go back to its source. Just like Hashem created the body from dust, so too the Torah teaches us that the body needs to go back to its origin, dust, and become dust. So that which doesn't stay with body is neshama, and neshama goes to world to come. So from this whole story brought in Parashat Vayechi, we see the importance of the neshama, that the neshama is connected to the body, and therefore body needs to get burial and respectful burial that the neshama that was in that body would deserve. Now, when a person goes to the world to come, then the status of neshama becomes stationary. In other words, the neshama cannot do any more acts of kindness. Right? When a person dies, That is the dead end. That is the end of the opportunities that Hashem has bestowed upon us to make Torah and keep Torah and Mitzvot and to perform Mitzvot. So what else can a neshama do at that point? Our Chachamim teach us that one's own children, one's own grandchildren and spouse can contribute to Ilui neshama of the deceased. So the neshama can be elevated. What do you mean elevations? In the world to come, there are different levels of closeness to Hashem. As our Chachamim teach us in Talmud and also in Zohar. Right? That Tzadiqim Yoshvim, that the righteous are sitting, the Atorotem Veroshehem, and their crowns are on their heads. Every person can have a different crown. A person could have a crown which is a crown of Kohen, is a Kohen. A person could have a crown of Talmud Torah, right? He is a Torah scholar. He did acts of kindness, he learned Torah. A person could have a crown of Shem Tov. A person, he has a good name. He is known in the community to be an honest person. A person could have a crown of Malchut. Right? He's from Shevet Yehuda. He has the potential of becoming Melech Israel from Shevet Yehuda. So all of these things that a person has, that he did in this world, can still contribute to his neshama going to higher levels. Or according to our Chachamim and Zohar HaKadosh, a person can go from one level of Beit Midrash to another level, like lower level Rashi, going to a higher level, right? Let's say Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, alav shalom, right? Or different Batei Midrashot, Beit Shammai, Beit Hillel. There is study of Torah in the world to come. Our Chachamim teach us. Right? Everyone is sitting around, spiritual sitting, right, around Hashem's Shekhinah. So based on this, I have a true story to share with you, and this is the highlight. This is probably the highlight of today's class. This is one of my favorite stories, and happened not that long ago. So if somebody's father that recently passed away, right? I mean, years ago passed away, but recently he was deceased. He comes to his son's dream, and he instructs him, "My son, tomorrow is a very important day for me. I want you to go to Beit HaKnesset, to Shul, and to say Kaddish for me." And the father in the dream looked very stressed. Right? Apparently he was referring to some sort of dinim, some sort of judgments that was going to happen in the heavenly courts. There are heavenly judgments, heavenly court that makes judgments, especially in the first year that a person passes away, goes to Olam Haba. So this boy gets up in the morning and he tells himself, "I would love to go pray for my father. I would love to go say Kaddish." And he was very traditional, right? "But how can I do this? I can't. Today I'm supposed to work." His job, this boy's job was working, right, in the airport, in the terminal, right, as one of the crews working there to make sure that everything goes smooth, right, for the flights and for the passengers coming, leaving. So he had a morning shift. He couldn't miss it, right? So he is hoping that by going to terminal, maybe there will be a group of Yehudim coming to daven, to pray, and maybe he can partake the shacharit in the airport. So he goes there, he looks around, mostly Gentiles going. There is not, and he's sad. He looks to Shammai, Hashem. He speaks to his father, "Father, you want me to say Kaddish for you, but I can't. There is no minyan here. I can't. I'm sorry." Right? As he's like talking to his father, all of a sudden he hears a sound in the speakers making an announcement that flight such and such is having technical mechanical issues, and therefore, right, all the passengers need to come back to the terminal till the airplane is repaired, whatever the engine issue is solved. So he's getting ready, to make the terminal ready, whatever he had to do, and he sees a group of yeshiva bachurim, Torah scholars with kippah, with peot, coming there. He immediately goes towards them. He asks them, "Did you guys pray shacharit?" And he said, "No. We were also worried about how our shacharit is going to be, right? How this is going to happen. And Baruch Hashem, now we are not in the plane, so we can pray here. We can put on the tefillin." So they quickly put on the tefillin. Two stories. Some say this happened in New York. Some say this flight was going to Tel Aviv. Whatever was diverted to New York, maybe John F. Kennedy Airport, whatever. So they come, they put on tefillin, and this guy, right, goes to them, gets the siddur, and he doesn't know how to pronounce the words of the Kaddish properly. They help him out, and he makes to say he gets fulfillment of making the obligation of saying Kaddish. Right? Now, towards the end of the prayer, right, this one of his friends who works in the technical, mechanical department of the airplanes comes to him and he tells him, "I want to tell you something." So he notices that this guy needed this group to pray, and he tells him, "There was nothing wrong with this airplane. I checked it myself. This check engine light, whatever, right, went off, showing that there is an engine problem, but there was absolutely nothing wrong with the engine." So we know the rest of the story. We know, and this boy knew, right, his son. HaKadosh Baruch Hu helped the deceased father to have the merit that his son would say Kaddish. We see from this story the importance of little acts of commitments in Judaism. Torah, Mitzvot. Every person living contributes to his spiritual clothing, and a person who is not living, his close ones, relatives, right, children, especially children, grandchildren, they can contribute to his elevation. So may HaKadosh Baruch Hu help us that Baruch Hashem, we are living, and we have all these opportunities to keep Torah and Mitzvot, to take advantage of these opportunities, not to waste our time, right? If we can go to Shacharit, go to Minyan. Last night I was in a meeting, and Harab Netanyahu Shalita told the family members that they must go to pray Shacharit in Beit Knesset in order to receive a lot of blessings. Just little things can make a big difference. Right? Person needs to be consistent. Person needs to show commitment. If you show your commitment to Hashem, then Hashem will bestow it to you all sorts of blessings. So as they say, why should a person waste his money with all sorts of breakdowns and lawsuits and all those unfortunate headaches? A person can put the hardship of Torah and Mitzvot and replace those hardships with other hardships. Right? Well, obviously, we should go after the Torah and Mitzvot. Baruch Adonai Leolam. Amen. Amen.